Narayana Namaskritam Prayashu Buddheshu Nitya Bhagata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shoki Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Nigama Kapadurugaritam Param Shukam Karamita Jabisamitam Pivata Bhagatam Rasam Bhavyam Mahora Hora Sikhi Krishna Sadham Bhagate Namgirahisa Karnashta Vishamasho Pradana Kodinavita Amapi Adam Prishita Vishitam Vibu Sanapyarena Viram Viruttaram Prakari Vihu Marutam Translation of Adama Santi Nandataha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jayapate Opisha Gubika Kantara Kantara Mokshute Jayatam Sadaro Pango Namadhyana Kirgiti Atsavita Paramroja Sima Ahasta Demon Rasa Rasarambi Vamsipada Karsandana Shanukta Gopinata Sriyasana Divya Brindranya Kapadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Shiva Chanukta Shri Sri Radha Shila Govinda Presto Segi Manashmana Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Taya 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 Krishnaya Gopinda Mangalam Magalam Vishnu Mangalam Vijaya Mangalam Validu Mangalam Maya Om Narayana Vimahi Vasudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishnu Prachodayate Om Mahadevi Chandrakani Vishnu Tanno Lakshmi Prachodayate Mahalakshmi Namastuvyam Namastuvyam Saraswati Haripriya Namastuvyam Namastuvyam Taptakan Chanagorami Hari Vandam Shivana Sudevi Pranamani Om Maganati Madanda Shakarangana Sakya Chaksurya Nitanya Talhai Shri Guruvaya Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Nari Bhaktivedanta Swami Pranamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurumani Pachani Niveshe Samsari Prasada Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srila Sri Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Oh, 34 and 35. Because there's no purport to 34. And 34 is not very. I guess we'll chant, let's just chant 35 then, shall we? We'll do the word for word for 34. You don't mind? Dehitaram, the daughter. Cha, also. Or Vasvatim, or Jashpati. Nama, name. Usana, say. Under the great sage Usana, Sukracharya. Prayachat, he gave. Yasham, unto whom? Asi, there was. Devyani, Devyani. Nama, name. Kabya, Sutta, the daughter of Sukracharya. Translation, please repeat. King Priyabrata then gave his daughter Urjashvati in marriage to Sukracharya, who begot in her a daughter named Devyani. Yeah, I suppose we can chant this one. Nevam vida purusha karo uru kramasya Pumsam tarangri rajasa jita shadgunanam. Chitam vidura vigata sakrib adadita. Yanamediyam maduna sajahati bandham. Anybody else, man or woman, want to chant? Just jump right in. Nevam vidha purusha kara urukramasya. Pumsam tarangri rajasa jita shadgunanam. Chitram vidura vigata sakrit adadita. Yanamediyam maduna sajahati bandham. Nevam vida purusha kararu pramasya. Om sam tarangri rajasa jita shadgunanam. Chitram vidura vikata sakrila dita. Yanamedayam aduna sajahati bandam. The ladies want to chant. Nevam vida purusha kara uru kramasya. Pumsam taragri rajasa jita shadgunanam. Tam vidura vikata sakrila dita. Yanamedayam maduna sajahati bandham. Na, not. Evam vidu, vida, like that. Purusha kara, personal influence. Urukramasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pumsam, of the devotees. Tadahangri, his lotus feet. Rajasa, by the dust. Jita Sadgunanam, who have conquered the influence of the 6 kinds of material whips. Chitram, wonderful. Vidura Vigata, the 5th grade person or the untouchable. Sakrid, only once. Adadita, if he utters. Yat, whose. Namadeyam, holy name. Aduna, immediately. Sa, he. Jahati, gives up. Bandham, material bondage. Translation. Please repeat. My dear king, a devotee who has taken shelter of the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord can transcend the influence of the 6 material whips, namely hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. And he can conquer the mind and 5 senses. However, this is not very wonderful for a pure devotee of the Lord, because even a person beyond the jurisdiction of the 4 castes, in other words, an untouchable, is immediately relieved of bondage to material existence. He utters the holy name of the Lord even once. Does anyone want to read the first paragraph down to where it ends, the river Ganges, aloud?
Sukadeva Swami was speaking to Maharaj Parikshit about the activities of King Sri, and since the king might have had doubts about these wonderful and uncommon activities, Sukadeva Swami initiated and this king said, "Don't be doubtful about the wonderful activities of Sri. For a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is possible because the Lord is named Rukana is a name for Lord Ramadev, who performed a wonderful act of occupying the three worlds of three steps. Lord Ramadev requested three pages of land from Maharaj Kali, and when Maharaj Kali agreed to grant the Lord to cover the entire world with three steps, and for his step he placed his foot on Bali Maharaj's head. The Jayadeva Goswami said, Kalashyasti Istamani Bali Abhutaramana Adana Harira Janta Jana Bhavana Keshavadvita Vamana Rupa. All glory to Lord Kesava, who assumed the form of a dwarf. O Lord of the universe, you take away everything inauspicious for the devotee, O wonderful Vamana Dev. You tricked the great demon, Bali Maharaj, by your step. The water that touched the nails of you lotus feet, and you pierced to the covering of the universe, purify all living entities in the form of the river.
I just heard recently, he actually passed away, I think in 2022. He was initiated as Raghunath Das before he became a devotee. His name was Bhakta Stan, and he was following Baha'i. He called me up one day. They were having a Baha'i conference out in the woods somewhere, and he wondered if I could speak. So he sat in the passenger seat as the navigator, and I drove one of our Volkswagen Combi vans. They still have those in Australia. They call them Combi vans. I don't know. Even today, I don't know how that was spelled. Was it for combination, or was it COMMIE, or was it COMBI? I don't know, but they were these Volkswagen vans that you still see some of them on the road today. And I remember we weren't sure we were going to make it. It was a dirt road and a recent rain. They were having the retreat way out in the middle of nowhere, but we kind of bonded in that experience. We didn't know whether they were going to get stuck and need to be pulled out, or whether they would slide off the road and go over a cliff. Quite a hair-raising experience driving in and out of there. I did what was needed, and that had been his first contact with the devotees. And then he started coming to the temple, and he particularly came on our radar screen when this is 1970, and I was a temple president in Sydney, and Karundar. I don't know how many of you know any of this history, but for quite a long time, the president of LA Temple, his name was Karundar. He was the man. I mean, honestly, if you know, in your naivete and with everything just beginning and not really know what's what, probably if you would ask anyone in the movement if there would be someone to succeed, probably it would have been Karundar. They were like this. Karundar was very expert in business and everything. So from Los Angeles, we get these newsletters, no internet, no email, just a mimeograph, very crude. So I got this letter, or said, and Prabhupada hadn't started traveling. He'd come to America, he'd gone to Canada to renew his visa, he'd gotten back, he'd started just a few temples. And he was 70 years old, so I was thinking of Prabhupada somewhat as a you know, being limited by his age, and so I had no idea he was going to circle the world 13 times. So in this letter, it said that Karundra said that you know, Prabhupada's expressed an interest in visiting temples all over the world. and every temple president should write a letter and make it as convincing as possible that Prabhupada should come and visit their temple. And he said he probably won't come. He probably won't come, but this is the duty of the disciple to be excited about hosting the physical presence of the Guru. So I wrote this letter, and I was really proud of myself. It was a great example of English penmanship, persuasion, and all the time I think the Prabhupada's not going to come, So this is just like it's a rasa between the spiritual master and the Guru. But I never thought he would come, and if by some remote chance he agreed to come, there was no way we could pay for it. We would go out on Sankirtan and offer Bhakti Guided magazines, and on a good day we'd make $75. It was all we could do to pay for the rent and food. So, a week or so later, we got this letter that Prabhupada was coming, and he was going to bring 2 people, and he needed round trip tickets from Bombay, about $3,000. So the only thing I could think of do is put a thermometer up in the hallway, 3,000. So several weeks went by, and the thermometer was just, it was like a little.
3,000.
Yeah, that was more than 3,000 and change. And after several weeks, it was just like, this is the thermometer, 3,000 is here, and there's like $223. So honestly, I thought, oh my gosh, my spiritual, I'm going to end up offender number 1. How am I going to tell Prabhupada that we can't afford this? And then this Stan, he had a wife and 1 boy and 1 girl. He comes up and he says, I heard you need some funds for bringing Prabhupada to Australia. I said, yes. He says, I might be able to do something about that. And what he did was he sold his house in order to downsize, live more simple as a devotee, be less involved in material acquisition. And he moved into an apartment. And he said, from the sale of my house, I want to give the whole amount. So, we can understand a few things from this, but one is that when you don't see a way, Krishna has a way. When you don't see a way, Krishna has a way. So it's not gainful, profitable to get frustrated and get worried because you don't have all the answers, because you're not supposed to have all the answers. It's God's job to have all the answers. And it's also God's job not to give you those answers up front. Krishna doesn't always have the best reputation. You know why? Because he's shifty. He's not straightforward. He doesn't put his cards on the table. You might even go so far as to say he's tricky, devious. Certainly his enemies, critics like Duryodhana and Karna and Sakuni, they had even stronger words impugning Krishna's character. But that's Krishna doing his job. Imagine if Krishna revealed to you that in 6 months you'd have this challenge. It might be financial, it might be legal, it might be relational, it might be a health challenge. He would describe how severe the challenge would be, how long the challenge would last, when it would be over, and what you'd learn from it. Imagine if he was upfront and straightforward. Problem is, you wouldn't grow. Your faith wouldn't grow. There'd be no place for you to learn to trust and to have faith in Krishna, would there? Would there? Sometimes we say, Lord, why can't you be more straightforward? Why can't you show me more? Why does it seem like I'm walking in the dark? Be like the quarterback, right? They're in the Super Bowl. And he's got the little thing in his ear that the coach can communicate with him. It's 4th down and 2 yards to go. They're on the 20-yard line, the opponent's 20-yard line. Do they go for field goal? They're 7 points behind. And the coach isn't saying anything. But, the coach is capable. The means are there. The equipment is there. And so the quarterback, well, why doesn't he tell me? Why doesn't he tell me? Why is he being silent now of all times? This is the season comes down to this, and the coach is silent. Well, that doesn't really happen, but I'm just giving that as an analogy that sometimes we might feel the same way. Krishna, if you just give me the answer, now's the time. We can 1, 2, 3, and we can lock this in. We can get this temple. We can buy this land. We can get and Krishna's silent. Why is that? Why isn't he more forthcoming, upright? We've got the equipment. We've got the receiving equipment. He's got the transmitting equipment. He's in our heart, closer than a brother. Someone once said during the test, teacher's silent, isn't he? During your tests, teacher never says anything, not a word. Sometimes, we tend to blame God. We tend to get frustrated. We're tempted to throw in the towel because we feel that God should be giving us more direction. Should be more clear what we need to do, and how we need to do it, and when the result will come, and what the result will be. But that's not his job. He has all the answers. He has all the answers, and he knows if you have a genuine God-centered dream in your heart, he knows how to get you there. He knows when to get you there. He knows who to use to get you there. But it's also his job not to reveal any of that to you, because you need to learn to trust him. And trust develops when you don't have the answers, but you still have a smile on your face. You're still excited. You're still expectant. We're all, in one sense, agriculturalists. We're all agriculturalists. We're all farmers. We have about an acre. My Bhavi manages most of it. He does a great job with the wolfers and the workaway and the volunteers. They order seeds during the winter, and they plan all the rows, what they're going to plant, how much they're going to plant. And they put the seedlings in the greenhouse around February and March, and then they bring the seedlings out in May, put them in the ground. But when you first plant the little seeds underneath the earth, or when you let's say you start in a climate like this, you don't have to worry about greenhouses or seedlings, or you've got pretty much a 12-month growing season. So let's say you go out, you till the field, you remove the rocks, you take out the weeds, you debug as much as you can. You've got some birds that do that, I think. Then you plant. And you plant. You've done all this preparation work. A week goes by, nothing. 2 weeks go by, 6 weeks go by. You might be tempted to think, I wasted my time. There's nothing visible. There's no visible evidence of my work. the kneeling down, the going on all fours, the back-breaking work, the hoeing, the tilling, it's all a waste of time. But if you're experienced, done this before, been there, done that, you're not in the least bit depressed. You're excited. And not only are you excited, but even though there's no visible sign of anything growing, you're already planning the harvest. You're already planning. You're already getting the tools lined up. You're getting the storage lined up. If you're going to sell that produce, you're getting your buyers lined up. You have no visible evidence of it, but what you're doing is you know you've got good seeds, you know you've got good soil, you know you've planted, you've tilled, you've got it. So you know that even though there's nothing to back that up empirically, you know that if you're just patient, you will get a crop. And what we get from 1 acre of land, it's just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. From 1 acre of land, we could, the total zucchinis and tomatoes and green peppers and melons, squash, fill up half of this room just from 1 acre. And we only have a 4-month growing season. So in the same way, if you're sincere, and this is the whole key. You don't have to have a huge IQ. You don't have to have degrees. You don't have to have a lot of money in the bank. You don't have to be especially good looking or well connected or high born. That none of that matters to Krishna. Krishna, you don't have to have anything because why? Why? He has it all. Am I wrong? He has the connections. He has the wealth. He has the influence. So you don't have to have it all. You don't have to push it through. You don't necessarily have to rely on the last analysis on your good looks, your birth, your bank balance, your friends, because Krishna has all of that. You just have to try in as sincere a way as you can to pursue the dreams that God put in your heart. Someone says, when we first went to Utah, I was life membership director in Los Angeles throughout the 80s. We had our own building, in fact. It wasn't just an apartment, it was a building where we'd host the life memberships on Sundays. We had a vehicle. Everything was provided by the temple. I did that for 10 years, and I like to think I did a good job. At least nobody complained. And yet we were some or other prompted to I love communicating. As a life membership director, I rented time in a radio station in Pasadena. The Indian community had from Saturday from 8 in the morning till 1 o'clock, they had all Indian programs blocked. So the entire Indian community of Los Angeles listened to this station, KMAX, out of Pasadena, from 8 in the morning till 1 every Saturday. And an hour came open there, travel agencies, grocery stores. So I rented that hour in Krishna right in the middle. I did that show for 2 years. And it really worked to coalesce the Indian community. But it cost $1,000 a month. It's the LA market. Well, I was thinking, what would it take to get a small, full-time radio station? It wouldn't be in LA, obviously, but some rural area. So I began monitoring a publication called Broadcast Weekly that had a classified section with for sale radio stations. And I came upon this advertisement for an AM radio station with 5 acres of land in Provo, Utah. And it wasn't doing well commercially. It was in the shadow of the bigger stations in Salt Lake. And so it was selling for a pretty low price at that time, $225,000. This is 1980. And something ignited. It was like something stirred within my metaphorical womb. And so we ended up leaving our comfortable, predictable service in Los Angeles and going to Utah, where nothing was guaranteed. There were no devotees. The Indian community was insignificant. Indians are our natural supporters and allies. There were no Indians, few in Salt Lake City, but none in Provo. It was 90% another religion. 90%. Can you imagine? They've done research recently. Since then, books have been written about what it takes to start a new church in a new area. The first thing they tell you in chapter 1 is do a survey, see how many people in the area are church going. And if less than 40% or less go to church, in other words, 60% don't have a church with which they're affiliated, then go to step 2. But if there's more than 40%, like 50 or 60% of a church going, you probably won't be able to have you probably shouldn't try. The research says you'll fail, you'll fall in your face. So we had no idea. We went to an area of 90%. And we should have failed, you know. And for the first few years, those negative voices were saying, "True, you got it wrong. You made a mistake. You know, this is your ego. This wasn't Krishna's plan." Those kinds of accusatory, condemnatory voices. We worked hard and we didn't really see much result, and so on and so forth. But we kept on, we kept on. And now there's 2 temples built from the ground up. One of them hosts, since 1995, the biggest color fest in North America. The weather's good, we get 20,000 people. As soon as we get back to Utah on February 8th, we've only got 5 weeks to prepare for the festival. It's always the last weekend of March. Bhai Bhavi built a temple in Salt Lake City on 4 acres of land, opened in 2019, and prior to that, we opened a temple in Spanish Fork in 2001. So the answer, the point is that even if you don't have all the answers, Krishna knows how to get you to where you need to go. And sometimes when you're thinking, well, it seems to me like this is something that Krishna would want. It seems to me this is a no-brainer, that Krishna would want this, like to open a new temple in a new area, start a festival, or start a school, you know. But yet it's been so long and there's so many difficulties. And we've even come to a point where it seems like the project is dead in the water. We've reached a dead end. Well, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I didn't hear properly. Here's what you need to think. Here's what you need to tell yourself. There's a universal GPS at work. God's positioning system. I don't know if they still have it, but a few years ago, a couple that used to live in Utah invited me to Dallas to do a Griha Pravesha, a housewarming. They bought a new house in Irvine, Texas, I think it was. So I went down there. This was many years ago. And they said, I got there a couple of days before, so they said, is there anywhere you want to go? I said, well, they have a beautiful restaurant, Chavachandji's, at the temple in Dallas. I've always wondered what the food would taste like there, so I'll get a bus and go. He said, no, take our car. I said, well, I couldn't do that. I don't know Dallas very well. It's got GPS. I said, what's that? He said, what is it? Global positioning system. I said, well, I don't know how to work it. I said, it's okay, just speak it, just tell it. I said, well, okay. I got in the car and driving down this suburban street to a stop sign, and I said, I want to go to the Kalachandi's restaurant on Gurley Street. Make a right at the stop sign. I'm like, can this possibly be as easy as it seems? And then after a while, I was starting to get a little cocky about it, you know. And I said, well, what would it do if I intentionally made a mistake, you know? So I would do the opposite of what it would tell me to do. And then I would get this voice, whenever possible, make a U-turn. And you know how if you miss a turn, then it says go right, go right, go right. You know what I'm saying? If you can't make a U-turn, it says take the next right, then take the next right. So GPS for devotees, using GPS in God's positioning system. Even if you didn't get it right, and you probably didn't, because we're so limited, four defects. Even if you didn't get it right, uh, you you thought this detail would get you what you wanted, but that detail's not working out at all. That donor doesn't want to give. You thought he would give, but he's just committed somewhere else, and he doesn't have a penny to give. Whatever. God knows how to yoga sema vahamyam, carry what you lack. He knows that. He knows all of that. So we don't need to know everything up front. It's not our job. We just need to have a passion for pleasing Prabhupada, for pleasing Krishna, whether it be in the area of education, missionary work, scholarship, or printing, or festivals, or auto mechanics, or flower garland making, or drama, or music. Take inventory. What are you good at? I'm fortunate. I learned from a very early time. I love communicating. I love public speaking. So I have a radio station. That's why I MC the biggest color festival in the Western Hemisphere. This is who God made me to be. This is God's thumbprint on me. I love to speak. I love to articulate concepts and share that. And so I have my niche. And God made each of you individual as well. There are none of you who are interchangeable. And so if you do a little inventory, what am I good at? What do I like doing? And it's a fact. You can do anything for Krishna and get to like it. You can do anything just by habit. You do something often enough, you will get to like it. You'll get to relish it. You'll get to look forward to it. But at the same time, it's also true to say that if there's something that God has particularly gifted you with, a talent and an ability, then and if you can identify that, then according to your own individual talent and temperament and aptitude, then go for it. Have a plan. Have a plan to bring something into being that wasn't there before, whether it be a school or a temple or a festival, and then take steps to accomplish that. And don't worry if you have to give up some comforts, some security, some predictability. You'll never sarva dhamman parityaga mamekam saraham tam sarva papi moksha. My Bobby and I gave up, the most comfortable life. And it wasn't we were giving up material life for spiritual life. We were giving up one part of spiritual life for another part of spiritual life. So anyway, having made that point, let me get back to my original story, narration about Bhaktistan. He made the impossible possible by donating more than $3,000 that probably would come to Australia in 1970. He brought deities with him from Bombay. He came with Megavan, and I think it might have been Shama Sundar. He stayed for 4 days. Now, Bhaktistan was an interesting person. He was a Baha'i. He'd been something before that, and he'd been something before that, and he'd be something before that. You getting the picture? So eventually, and when so eventually got initiated as Raghunath. His wife got initiated, kids got initiated. But he had this curious history, 6 months after he donated $3,500, and he'd been initiated, he came up to me one day in a very confrontational, combative mood and said, "I want my money back." It wasn't that he was disappointed with Prabhupada or anything like that, or that we had failed him or mistreated him in any way. That was not in the least bit the case. But that was him. He was like that. And for several years, he followed this pattern: 6 months in, 6 months out. And before the out period happened, there'd always be an explosion. There'd always be he would like precipitate an incident, and it usually had to do with asking for his money back. That's what I'm saying. So it was interesting that, I saw that he passed away. Korma posted that he just learned that he passed away in like 2023 or something. So apparently he was out at that time. It had been so for some time. But Mahabhara Kamanasasi Pratyabhaya Shravabhaya, no, nothing done for Krishna has ever gone unnoticed or unappreciated. His blessedness is guaranteed throughout all of eternity. And there was a hint. Even when Prabhupada was there and he was initiated and he was wearing dhoti and tilak and coming to the temple every day, there was a hint. Shall I tell you what it was? One time Prabhupada finished the evening class. Said, questions? Prabhupada, how are we supposed to understand that Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, rides a swan? And Prabhupada told him, why do you think that you should understand? Why do you think it's important that you understand? If you understand about God, he's not God. Right? If your idea of God can come within the tiny parameters of your understanding, I'll give you a heads up. That's not God. Are we clear on this? I hope there's nobody in there thinking, how are we supposed to understand? God rides a swan. I hope that everyone here is advanced enough and insightful enough not to be asking themselves, how did the universe come from a lotus flower protruding from the navel of Lord Vishnu? How is that possible? This is not the place for that. We're not interested in blind belief. There's plenty of information. There's plenty of science. Our bhakti tradition, man for man, per capita, has written more books than any other tradition in the history of the world. You want knowledge, you want science, you want gyan. We got, even though we dance like madmen in the street, we also have so much knowledge that you have to be careful not to just do gone. I gave a class in Hawaii. I gave a Sunday feast lecture a couple of weeks ago, and one of the ladies came up and she said, "I really like your narrative style. You're talking from your own experiences. She said, "There's too much gyan. We come to the Sunday feast, and it's all just gyan. Which is fine. I mean, we're not against gyan. We have more gyan than any other tradition in the world. We communicate it in books and writings and audibly. But that's not what we're here for. You may be a big scholar. You may be able to give all kinds of facts and figures and talk about. I can't explain how Priyavata created the grooves and the islands and all like that. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. I don't know what the Vedic planetarium is going to be like in Mayapur. And I'll tell you a secret. Heard from insiders that even the experts still don't know what it's going to be like. They're still scratching their heads after all these years. But I'm here this morning to tell you it's not important. None of that stuff is important. Did we go to the moon or didn't we go to the moon? Who cares? Who cares? We just have one simple little job. To have a God-given dream, please Prabhupada, our spiritual master, to go for it with boldness, excitement, daring, and then leave the rest up to Krishna. Karmani Vadakavishtam, Mapadashukadajan, Karmas. What stage do you, Karmani? Go for it, you know. Don't try and force it. Don't try and hurry God along. Do your best, then rest. Make your very best effort each and every day to move closer toward the God-given goal, which will fulfill you. When Prabhupada's spiritual master told him, go to the Western world, preach, what did he say? That will do good to you. That will do good to others. So what defined Prabhupada, what made Prabhupada Prabhupada was his mission. Was his mission. It's okay to be a devotee and do your job and keep your head down. Same old, same old. But what made Prabhupada Prabhupada was his mission. His mission did good to him, and it also did good to the world. So have a mission. It's fine just to not make any waves and be a nice devotee. But somewhere inside there should be a fire. There should be a passion, burning desire to bring something into being which was not there before. That will do you good. That will do good. Is that okay? Any questions or comments? Yeah, over to you.
Thinking of two Prabhupada with you, all see the mission established to bring that. And then to whatever to shift the thing somewhere else.
That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I'm so glad you brought that up. He learned valuable lessons in Jhansi. He learned valuable lessons during those couple of years. And he even mentions that, he says when it was sold out from underneath him, property, he said, Krishna had so little and you took that away. Huh? He said to Krishna, he said, Krishna, I had so little and you took even that. And we all come to this point, right? When Vaibhavi and I went to Utah, I said, Krishna, we had so little, we had preaching, we had lots of members, we had a constituent of 10,000 Indians, in Los Angeles. We could raise money for Rath Yatra every year. And yet, it went away. It was given to somebody else because we shifted. And after we made the shift, we thought we went from so much to so little. And even from this, it took a lot of years to get traction. See what I'm saying? But we didn't lose enthusiasm. We had the doubts. They were knocking the door, but we didn't open the door. We didn't invite them in. We didn't rent them a room. We just kept on doing, kept on keeping on, Sometimes the best thing you do is just be downright stubborn, just be stubborn. So Prabhupada, in answer to Prabhupada's question to Krishna, or his comment on this dead-end situation, he said, Prabhupada, Krishna, I had so little, and you took even that away. And you know what the answer is? Huh? Yes, but there's a dramatic way of putting that. Prabhupada gave the answer in a way that gives goosebumps. Your hair stands on the back of your head. You know what he said? The answer to the question, Krishna, I had so little, and you took even that away. The answer was, Krishna, you wanted me in the open field. Wanted me in the open field. Sometimes we have so little, and even that gets taken away. That's because Krishna wants you in the open field. When I shared with some of my the other devotees in the LA temple that we wanted to go to Utah. What did you say, Caru? You want to go from Los Angeles to Utah? Los Angeles is, I actually had the leader of the temple at that time, who was a New Yorker. Caru, Los Angeles is big time. Utah is small time. Why would you want to do that? But now we're on the open field. You know, I'm here in New Zealand, and I'm hopefully inspiring you about what a couple can do who goes to an area that's 90% another religion with no Indians, no money, no resources. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. That radio station, that little AM radio station back in 1980, it reached about 30 miles. Didn't even reach into Salt Lake City. There's a, what they call a tip of the mountain. You go up over this hill and then you're down in Salt Lake Valley. So the signal wouldn't make it over that hill very easily. Only in Utah Valley where it's 90% more. But now it streams on the internet. Anytime you have cell phone, anytime you have Wi-Fi, you can get KHQN radio. People listen to it all over the world. I don't think I can get it here because I don't have the password. But who knows? We might be pleasantly surprised. Let's see. You just download an app on your phone, like Simple Radio. Yeah. Well, anyway, you know it's running. It's all automated. No one's sitting there with controls. Before I left for a month, I just programmed it for 30 days. And let's see if this also works. Now with the new technology, you can create your own songs within just a matter of minutes. I had created a song the day before yesterday about Priyavrata. I tried playing it on Zoom. It was all choppy. It didn't work out. But oh yeah, here it is. Let's see if you can. Let's see if we can get this here. This is maybe not. Man proposes, God disposes. Anyway. Oh, okay, here. This is a song about Mars Priyavrata. Okay. Anyway, you get the idea. I won't keep you any longer. One last question or comment, and then we'll adjourn. Yes.
But how do we conserve our thoughts? Look at my ability, skill. How do we serve self-esteem?
It's very easy. Give the credit to Krishna. Not mine. I'll never claim credit. I say the Two Temples Radio Station Festival. Oh, Krishna's going. We rushed. We were fools. We had no idea what we were going. When we went to Utah, we were going against all the research, all the experts. Everybody said we'd fall on our face. So the success in Utah wasn't due to our own abilities. It might have had something to do with our seizing the opportunity and being bold and daring and stepping out of our comfort zone. But other than that, it wasn't our expertise, it wasn't our abilities, it wasn't our charisma, it wasn't our good looks, or it was Krishna, because Krishna just thought, you know, they're idiots, but they're idiots with a lot of faith. So I'm gonna help them out. And in fact, over the last 45 years, as things have uncannily, supernaturally fallen into place one after another, come to realize that Krishna had this planned out before the creation of the universe. In fact, a funny story, there was a Mormon visionary. His name was Bishop John Coyle. He died in 1952. And he had a little house up on the east bench of the mountain. We can see his little house. And he had some followers. And we can actually look and see the front porch on which Bishop Coyle used to sit. And he made a lot of uncanny predictions that came true. You know, he had a lot of followers because he was right on a lot of predictions. So it said he sat at his porch one day and he pointed to our hill, about maybe 4 miles away, 3 miles away. And he said, one day there'll be a great temple in that hill. He didn't say it would be a Mormon temple. So all we were doing was just like, you know, bringing out into the visible realm what Krishna had already created, you see, invisibly. When you think of it that way, it's easy to accomplish great things because it's not on you. The only thing that's on you is trust, faith, and a bit of boldness. You know, you have to have some sort of an attitude to get anything done. But don't let it be. You can, I mean, ego is okay as long as you. Ego means who am I? Well, I'm a servant of the most powerful God who creates millions of universe. Hold your head up, look people in the eye, put your shoulders back. It's not false ego. That's real ego. Nitya Siddha Krishna Krishna Sadhu Kadama. Okay, I think I've kept you long enough. My apologies. Thank you for your kind attention and for the honor being able to share with you and for even being here in the first place. Hare Krishna.
Like